You're live.
Good morning, and welcome to Northern Light Spiritual Center. My name is Reverend Amaré, and I am here with Reverend Mykal Amaré, who will be doing today's talk. Northern Light Spiritual Center is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Light Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and coastal Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. And you'll see that on the screen that Mykal has this slide, prayers and support for Ukraine. So I invite us to just take a moment and consider the people in that very large country. We in the United States can kind of become immune to or lacking a certain understanding about the vastness of space. There are millions of people that live in Ukraine. It's a history that goes back many, many years. These are people who fought against the Nazi takeover of Europe. These were people whose land has been the battlefield of Europe for centuries. And they have lived and survived in the midst of all of this. So I just invite us to turn our attention, to turn our minds and hearts towards the fearsome experiences and send them love and courage in the face of terrifying attacks. And to stand with them in their courage, to stand with them in their strength, to stand with them in their resilience. They're saying, this will not end us. We have been the recipients of hostilities for centuries, and this will not end us. So I invite us also to just hold a little space in our hearts and minds for these people. Some of them are staying behind to fight. Some of them are fleeing for their safety. And however they are responding, let us hold them with care and love. For our opening song today, we have the song by Ron and Carol Harris, In This Very Room. Please join me if you care to, or be sung to if you prefer that. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very spirit So today's reading is coming from something that Jim Carrey presented at a graduation ceremony.
Fear is going to be a player in your life. You get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. When I was about 28, after a decade as a professional comedian, I realized one night in LA that the purpose of my life had always been to free people from concern, just like my dad. What's yours? How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. As someone who's done what you're about to go and do, I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart. The only one I hadn't freed was myself, and that's when my search for identity deepened. I wondered who I'd be without my fame. Who would I be if I said things that people didn't want to hear? Or if I defied their expectations of me? What if I showed up to the party without my Mardi Gras mask and refused to flash my breasts for a handful of beads? You guys are so ahead of the game. You already know who you are. And that peace that we're after, lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor go. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. We're not the avatars we create. We're not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting, but not truly compelling. I've often said that I wish people could realize all their dreams and wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out into the world and doing something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. My soul is not contained within the limits of my body. My body is contained within the limitlessness of my soul. Once that button is functioning in your life, there's no story that the mind can create that will be as compelling. The imagination is always manufacturing scenarios, both good and bad, and the ego tries to keep you trapped in the multiplex of the mind. And if you listen to it, there will always be someone who's doing better than you. No matter what you gain, ego will not let you rest. It will tell you you cannot stop until you've left an indelible mark on the earth, until you've achieved immortality. How tricky is this ego that it would tempt us with the promise of something we already possess? As far as I can tell, it's just about letting the universe know what you want and working toward it while letting go of how it comes to pass. Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head And when the door opens in real life, just walk through it. There's always doors opening. They keep opening. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I really don't know if that's true. I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun. Oh, and why not take a chance on faith as well? I don't believe in hope. Hope is a beggar. Hope walks through the fire and faith leaps over it. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have two choices: love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart.
Yes. So I invite us to just consider for a moment, let us put our focus on anything that we just heard that might have inspired us. Anything that we heard that might have helped to settle or soothe our fears. Our bodies are always sensing, always taking in information. We have the opportunity to pause every now and then and just pay attention to our response to what it is that we're going through. So we may feel fears arise. We may feel the press of people's expectations on us. We may feel the press of our own expectations. And each moment we have the opportunity to pause. Life can feel like a constant rush. Time moves continually. And we may find ourselves feeling like a leaf blown on the wind, buffeted about by life, buffeted about by circumstances. But as we let inspiration come through to us, as we let a moment come where we simply choose to pause, we can let time pass without being swept up in it. Having said that, I invite us to just pause right now, right here, and take a deep breath in. And we may hold it or we may let it out. And I invite us to take another breath in. how often do we give thanks for our mouths and our noses? How often might we give thanks for the breath that comes in, for our exhalation, the breath that no longer serves us, we are able to give back to the world? What if we breathe out gratitude for all that that breath has given us? And just in a moment of pause, allow ourselves to let fear pass us by. We all have an automatic reaction. Our bodies are designed for fight or flight. We also have a design for freezing, for just stopping. Rather than feeling the prisoner of our flight, fight, or freeze response, what if we imagine ourselves changing shoes? That we're no longer victim to our circumstances. We are companion to our circumstances. And we are walking as a partner with our circumstances. Fear will not disappear, but it doesn't have to maintain a position as the main character. The only thing that we are paying attention to on the stage. Let us pay attention to the acts of bravery embodied all around us, moment by moment. People who stand up to a bully. People who decide, I'm not going to follow that. People who decide, I can simply add to the world another energy. Jim Carrey spoke about making a choice to see himself as a gift. What if we make the choice to look at ourselves with such love? To look at ourselves as dynamic energies, as centers of magnificence. Let fear pale in relation to the magnificence that we are. Breathe in what it means to recognize all that we have to give, all that we have to share, let ourselves find the place in our bodies from which the magnificence expresses and will continue to express. Did we take a step when we didn't think we could? Did we get up when we thought it would be easier to stay seated or laying down? Just take this moment and celebrate the infinite ways that magnificence manifests. The background sound for today's meditation is rainfall. Each one of us is like that drop of rain, bringing to the world the cure, bringing to the world the end of drought and the place from which the growing season can arise. So take a moment and center ourselves in that sense of being the place from which the growing season is arising. From which the dry desert becomes replenished. And as you feel ready, allow yourselves to become present again to this space. Maybe pay attention to the floor under our feet. Pay attention to the chair under our seat. Pay attention to our bodies in space. And so as you're ready, if you want, you can open your eyes. Coming back to the room. And so it is. So this month's, here is the final rendition of this month's chant. The words are, I am remembering my bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and I are one, remembering now Spirit is all that I am. And the way this chant works is we sing it through twice, and then we shift gears and we go into the second version, which is you are remembering your bright inner light. And then we do that through 2 times, and we come to the third rendition, which is we are remembering. And then finally we return to I am remembering. I am remembering my bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and I are one, remembering now Spirit is all that I am. I am remembering my bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and I are one, remembering now Spirit is all that I am. And we again. You are remembering your bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and you are one, remembering now Spirit is all that you are. We are remembering our bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and I, we are one, remembering now Spirit is all that we are. We are remembering our bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and we are one, remembering now Spirit is all that we are. And then we come back to I. I am remembering my bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and I are one, remembering now Spirit is all that I am. I am remembering my bright inner light, remembering how Spirit and I are one,
Well, good morning. And you probably can't guess what the topic might be today. Between the video for the reading and for this song, it's love versus fear. And another of my favorite topics is choice. You can ask Stephanie about that. She knows that. I'm very big on choice. And in that video with Jim Carrey, I saw that yesterday, and it was like, that is an extremely powerful thing to me, because later on we were discussing with some friends over a late breakfast about this, and how many times do we stay in a situation, whether it's a job, a relationship, even a family, when we're miserable, just plain miserable. We have our reasons, and they're actually probably very good reasons. Some of us stay because the familiarity of the situation we're in. Some of us stay like in a job because of the money, the benefits, and all that, all the good stuff like that. But like he said, are we doing what we love? Or are we just hanging in there until, finally I can retire now, I can get, that's not a way to live. Like he said, his father got laid off, from this theoretical sure thing. So instead of hanging around, taking in this sure thing, why didn't he do what made his heart sing? And I think that's a lot of it, and a lot of that is because of fear. We're afraid, I know my mother in a situation with my stepfather and stuff, and she was afraid to leave because she didn't know what to do or where to go. She had 5 kids, or 6 kids at the time, and she, out of fear, didn't know, where to turn. So she chose, unfortunately, to stay in that situation. And so, hopefully, we can hear something that allows us to challenge those fears. Because most fears are summarized in a few basic false beliefs. Like nobody wants me, or I'm not good enough, I'm not needed, I'm not worthy. All these knots that we believe we are, which are false beliefs. We are not those things. We are valuable. We are a part of this human race. We are loved, And these false beliefs are the cause of fear. And sometimes they affect fear itself. Because fear arises from these false beliefs of duality, that there are 2 powers, the good and the evil, the good and the bad. And this belief that there may be a power opposed to God, whose influence can attract evil to us. If we release our fears, knowing that God's Spirit, the divine, is everywhere present, everywhere, in everything. I know that sometimes can be very challenging to try to believe that the divine is everywhere all the time. Because we look at the war going on. We feel things in our body that are not, our aches, our pains, our disease, and all that. And God is in that too. That's the whole thing. That it is hard to comprehend that sometimes. But that's where faith comes in. Like Jim Carrey said, that that hope walks through the fire, but faith leaps over it. And I just love that because I could just picture that, you know, leaping over a fire. I don't know if I would ever do that physically, but the idea of faith being so strong and so powerful, that you have the faith of God, not just the faith in God, but the faith of God, that strong personal faith. It is through fear of these two powers that we always feel victimized. When things don't go right, we tend to be, you know, the victim. And in doing so, we fail to take responsibility that, you know, we are in control of our thoughts. So we are at choice in every single day, every moment. Sometimes it is so hard to choose certain things. I know in our household sometimes choice is a battle. You know, what, I don't know if anybody else ever experienced this with somebody, like, oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know, what do you want to do? What do you want to eat? Oh, I know, what do you want to do? You know, all this, you know. And why, I try to figure out why we do that sometimes, and I think that, in my case, that I don't want to do something that somebody else doesn't want to do. I don't want to force that on them. That's a good thing to contemplate. Why do I feel that way? Why do I think that? Well, it's people pleasing for one thing. You want to make everybody happy. You want to be liked by everybody. Well, I don't know if I want to be liked by everybody. There's some people I can be happy without that. And fear and worry and stress, they weaken and depress our immune system. I believe that, you know, when you get so drawn into worry and especially stress too, that's where the disease comes in our bodies. It comes in there, it draws it in, and then we have these little piranhas that eat away at us. I love these little piranhas sometimes because I can visualize these little fish with these thousands of teeth in their mouth just gnawing at, and that's like when we allow something or somebody to gnaw at us over silly and actually stupid things. You know, like maybe a little disagreement or something. And, you know, life is too short for all this, and allowing our bodies to be eaten up from the inside. So that, you know, releasing fears allows us to enter love with positive thoughts, with a greater pleasant emotions, you know, and thus strengthen our immune system again. If we can somehow shed these fears. There's fears going to be popping up all the time. But we don't have to take them in. We don't have to own them and cradle them and hug and caress them. Because that just spurs on more and it goes deeper. So if we could just, you know, we see the fear and we recognize it. That's the thing, the recognition. We recognize it. And then do whatever we can to shed that fear, to allow the love to come in and overtake the fear. As we develop peace and serenity, harmony, and balance, respect, integrity, all these things, if we can just let go of that fear. I have certain fears. There's a fear of the Space Needle. Going up that glass elevator is beautiful, but I cannot stand by the front door. But I have to stand in the back because I don't know what it is. I just get, and then getting up there, I'm fine, except for the new floor that they put in. We took my great nephew and his family up there, and Reverend Vaughn and him were laying on the glass, looking down and doing all this, and no way. You know, it's just this fear, and I know it's safe. Or they wouldn't let you up there. However, there's this thing inside of us, you know, that I can't explain it, but it's a fear, you know, fear of falling through the glass, I guess, or being sucked through it. And life is unpredictable, you know. It's an unpredictable maelstrom event, you know. People, thoughts, feelings. Times get tough for everybody now and then. And it can be only too tempting to give in to the lies about fear. Sometimes it's just easier to like stay in this situation because we know this situation, we know this job, we know this relationship, yet we are miserable as hell. And sometimes maybe even being abused, and either physically or verbally. Verbal abuse to me is a horror. It's horrid. I lived through that in my childhood with my stepfather and stuff, and it's in some ways because it leaves scars that you can't see. Physical abuse, there's a lot of times physical scars of sorts, but mental and emotional verbal abuse, there isn't. So we foresee obstacles ahead of us and think, oh, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to make it. And every individual is given the chance to choose between two avenues at junctions in our lives: fear or love. When I'm going to do a talk, the first thing I always go for the song first, because the song inspires me a lot of times, and to me, music is a spiritual practice. It's something that gets me out of myself, and allows me to be at ease and in harmony. And so, searching for a song, it took me a long time to find this one. And I just put the word, love in YouTube and search, and basically, this was like the third time I put something in there, and poof, this song came up, and I said, that's it. Because certain things in life, you know when it's it. Like in a relationship, when you meet somebody, sometimes it's that instant, that click, there's something there. And so, the way we live in abundance and freedom is through love. And we're often motivated by what we can gain or take part in. If we can, be part of a community, I mean, I am motivated by being in a community. I'm motivated to be more than I am normally. If you're excited about an opportunity ahead of you, then you recognize that there's something you can gain from it. And it's not, you're in it for just, like say, in it for the money. But it's the things that you can gain, like the friendship, the connection. Because connection is I think, something that everyone looks for in this life. Whether you're introvert or extrovert, connection is extremely important. And whether it's, a new job or a new place to live or a new relationship, you realize when you're acting through love, when you're actually moving forward in love. Because of course we were created in love, and to me that we are here to love and to learn to love. I say that a lot, but I believe that. I believe that is our ultimate purpose on this earth. Vince Lombardi, the famous coach of the Green Bay Packers, said that the price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. If we do our best, and I don't want to use this phrase, but I'm going to, if we be our best, I had to look in there, then we have nothing to lose. We have everything to gain. And if you truly love something or somebody, you're going to continue working towards that success. Like if you love your job, you're gonna flourish in that job. You're gonna just blossom. Because if you're not loving your job, the odds of you blossoming and flourishing are, less. I'll put it that way. I know when I worked at Boeing, I worked in Everett for a good share of my career there, and I actually loved it. Then I got transferred to Auburn, and that was not love. It wasn't fear, it was just, it was hard. It was toxic, I'll just put it that way. It was okay for a while, but then all of a sudden, it just felt, you could feel the toxins floating around and seeping into my bones and stuff. And so once I retired from there, a lot of things changed physically and emotionally, and mentally. I mean, things shifted for the better. So Martin Luther King once remarked about the need for collectively continue working towards success. He said, human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concerns of dedicated individuals. So sometimes things that are goals that we're seeking, there's challenges in it. But that doesn't mean that there can't be love in there. Because if you're going for, say like for justice, there's going to be challenges. But if you can achieve that justice, that the outcome is love. And when we find something we love in life, it sometimes requires a bit of sacrifice. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, well, that doesn't sound great. But then there's things we do give up, like when we enter into a relationship. There's certain things we give up willingly. Like maybe you're in a relationship, you might give up dating. It's usually not good when you're in a relationship with somebody to date somebody else. And then, things like that, there are little sacrifices, even in the situations that we love. And when we begin something great, it's because you fell in love. Like a project or something, because I know I've heard, like Reverend Pamela, when she paints, you get involved in that, and time just, there's no time. It disappears, because you're so in love with what you're doing, your passion. And that's one thing, if we can find passion in what we're doing. That is one of the greatest things in life, to fulfill your life, I think, is passion. Our brains possess an incredible power that awakens when we strike out to succeed at something we love. When we find something that we love, our brain is, I'm in awe of the human body, and not just as the looks of it, but the workings of it. I always, because if you just think about all the things the mind and the whole body itself can do, the healing, the cleansing, like when we take in a breath of air, that it comes in and it cleanses and it feeds our cells. Just imagine that, you know. It feeds our cells, and then when we, like Reverend Vaughn was doing in the meditation, when we exhale what we don't need, but there's something outside of us that needs what we're releasing. And that's a love, because that's the love of nature. I mean, we're giving them the carbon dioxide that we don't need anymore. And so, embracing your fear toward a project or a goal will only hamper your ability to move forward. If we get so stuck on that fear, then we're gonna be, that's it, we're gonna be stuck. Like we did a tandem jump shortly after I retired, and I'm a little fear of heights, you know, and somebody asked, well, weren't you afraid or whatever? And I said, well, and I had a video taken. And so when I said, if you watch that video, see me sitting on the edge of the door to go out, you see that look on my face, and I said, that's not joy, that's fear. But I didn't allow that fear or that to hold me back. Well, because we were going to go anyway. But anyway, once we released and fell out of the plane, it was, I don't know what the word is, awesome, you might say? That might be, to me, that's kind of a simple word to describe that. But everything else disappeared, except, you know, falling in that moment. And it wasn't fear then, it was excitement, it was exhilaration. It was like, I thought my cheeks were going to slap me to death from the air. But I didn't allow the fear to hold me back from doing that. And sometimes even in little things in life, there's that little fear, that little thing that won't let us do certain things. And it doesn't have to be, you know, jumping out of an airplane. There's little things in life that happen that we can get over. We can jump over that fire. But concentrating on love will show you that anything and everything is possible if you care enough to make it happen. Franklin Roosevelt, this is one of his old sayings that there's only the only thing to fear is fear itself. So we don't let fear have any place on our path towards success. Basically, we kick the fear to the curb. Because again, if we allow the fear to set in and to hold us back, we won't move forward. Or if we move forward, it's not going to be in a pleasant way. So we need to recognize that fear is an emotion that is felt when something huge is taking place. But love will allow you to push through these obstacles. Because there's obstacles that come up in our lives every day. I mean, there's a lot of potholes. Not only figuratively, but in reality. But we can push through them, we can push past them. We don't need to focus on them, because what we focus on only gets stronger and stronger. So fear is a natural human emotion. We have the capacity to look past all these obstacles when we harness love. And Jim Carrey said that you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance at doing what you love. You know, I love that because, you know, like his dad. His dad didn't fail at it, but he got laid off. When all these years that we could have been doing something that we really, really love to do. And that's like us in our life. We allow ourselves to be held back because, you know, what will other people say? We allow others to take our power. Like if you're a kid and you say, well, you want to play the violin, or something like that, and somebody says, oh, you'll never be able to do that. Or, I remember, I can't remember a lot of things because I didn't share a lot of things that I wanted to do. Because of that. Because I know at one point in my life, as a kid, I was told that you won't amount to be anything. And you know when you're a kid and you hear things like that, that sticks. But as you go on through life, I cannot blame the people that said that or the person that said that. I have to take responsibility for my own life, and I can change that. I can change my perspective on it. So I don't have to allow that person to have power over me. I have that choice to take that power back, and I may fail, but failing is learning. You know, ask Edison. You know, he failed, I think it was 1,000 times or whatever. But he didn't look at it as failure. He said that now he has all these ways of not making the light bulb. So if we look at it that way, we can move on in great success. And there's a story, I know everybody's heard it before. It's called The Two Wolves. And one morning the old Cherokee man told his grandson about a battle that happens inside people. And said, my son, the battle is between two wolves inside of us. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sadness, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, goodness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson pondered this for a minute and asked his grandfather, which wolf wins? And the old grandfather says, the one you feed. So if you're going to feed something, feed the joy, feed the good, feed the love of what it is you want to do. And you know, love can create new opportunities out of problems. Because sometimes there's problems that we come across, or these challenges, but you know, these challenges sometimes have a way of teaching us something new, or teaching us how to do something different. And so I think challenges, I think, as much as I dislike them, I believe they're good. And we have the choice to accept the challenge and like find a new way to do something, or we can ignore it, and maybe it'll go away, maybe it won't. But there we are again at choice. Choose to love or to live in the fear. The fear that we can't do it, the fear that somebody won't like us for doing it, the fear that maybe your parents said no, but you're going to do it anyway. Desiring something strongly enough can keep us on a path of love and success. So if there's something that you really want to do, and it's calling you, and it keeps calling you, it may call you years ago, and you say, I don't want to do that. But you know what? It keeps coming back. You know, it keeps niggling that little way into your mind. And you're still thinking that, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. But eventually you give in, and the joy that comes from that. When you once give in and say yes. And fears, you know, I said earlier, come from false beliefs. And if we continue to feed them, we give them more power, just like we give other people power. Fear has kept us in ignorance and managed us through guilt, blame, and shame. This makes us believe in a non-existent power, leading us to believe that we are not valuable, that we're not worth anything. And love has the power to transform our fears, to take our fears and kick them to the curb, basically. And when we learn to love ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to praise ourselves, to be our first love, we transform ourselves. And in transforming ourselves, that transforms people around us. Because who we are and what we are in the world, rubs off. You know, we are examples of what love can be, of what fear can be, whatever we choose. We are examples to others. We are examples to children that are coming behind us. So which would you rather be an example of? And love has the power to transform our fears. When we learn all this about ourselves, we love ourselves. We're human. We're individualized expressions of the divine, and we're doing here only what we can do on this earth. There's nobody else who could be me, there's nobody else who could be you, because that's just the way it is. And the first step when an emotion arises is to recognize it, to identify the fear, and to know that you have the option to choose love and not fear. So let us choose to live calmly in balance, in a state of gratitude, loving everything we do, and feeling that our life is important and relevant. Sometimes I think we feel we have to do these huge, grandiose things to make a difference in the world. But that's not true. Sometimes it's those little things. Like in that video, when that person was laying on the ground, somebody walked by and put some money in the cup. That's a little thing. But it was probably a big thing to the other person. Like when you're walking somewhere and you come across somebody and you just give them a smile. It's amazing what a smile can do for somebody. It can change their whole day. So it's the little things, not necessarily the big things. We have that power. We have that power to spread the love, to spread the joy throughout the world. Because everyone we come in contact with, we affect. And vice versa, they affect us. So let us contribute to making our world better, knowing that as we change, our world will change. If we were better, our children will be better, our family will be better, and the world will be better. And so it is. And so I just want to thank everyone for being here, whether you're present physically or virtually. I know I say this every week, but your presence is important. Your presence in the world is important. Your love is important. Because love is, what helps make the world go round. And to love yourself, to embrace yourself in even with all the dings and chips and whatever, the little flaws, that's part of you. Embrace that. Embrace yourself. Love yourself. Be kind and generous to yourself. And by doing that, you're going to be kind and generous to everyone around you. So I give thanks for each and every person and anyone that's ever contributed to this Northern Light Spiritual Center in any way, physically, emotionally, spiritually. The love that you give, the finances, the support keeps us going. And I am grateful for that. And knowing that there is only one life, and that life is God's life, and that life is my life, that life is your life, right here and right now. And knowing that God is love. That love that created us, that love that we are here to be. And I know that if God is this love, then each of us are. Each of us are that love that God is. And in that, we share that love. We give that love freely, unconditionally. And so I give thanks for the love that I am. I give the thanks for the love that you are and that God is. And in that thanksgiving, I release it to that, what we call the automatic action of the law. Because it takes our wishes, our prayers, and it shapes and forms them. It sets them into motion. Sets them into motion. So we don't have to do anything. We just release it and let it be. And let the seed germinate, let the thing transform and come into fruition. And so I say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And for those of you who hang around on Zoom, to talk. And I just want to share that looks like our annual meeting will be shifted from the third Sunday, I have to think what day, to the fourth Sunday in March, which is the 27th, because our founder is going to speak at another center on the one day, so she asked if we could switch, and we're flexible. And that's great to be flexible. So it'll be on the 27th. And so oh, you're still going? You shut up.
Oh, okay.